BlasterGas.
BlasterGas.
BlasterGas. BlasterGas. BlasterGas. BlasterGas.
Okay, so before we start, that's just I would like to start with just some introductions.
Yeah.
So I'm Marco again, and this is an old pal from Barcelona that we met in Barcelona. Must have been, what year would it have been?
About 24 years ago.
Anyway, I haven't just realized I haven't said your name. This is Stuart.
Yeah, that's me.
And we met. Sorry, say that. How long ago did you say it was?
I think it's like 24 years ago.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, because that would have been 2001.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably
More or
around
less.
then. Yeah, because I arrived in Barcelona in 2001, so probably been maybe the year after or something. But yeah, pretty much. God, that's crazy. So anyway, I asked you what if you wanted to join me on the podcast, like,
Oh, yeah.
if you wanted to suggest a topic or a movie or or some music or some kind of theme subject for us to talk about, and you said, what did you say?
Classic jazz or contemporary, and David Cronenberg's films.
Okay, so classic jazz I know quite a decent bit about, and that would be a really good podcast I'd like to do some other day.
Let's do it.
But I felt like we started the first podcast I did was, about movies. So I thought, let's keep on that theme for the first few episodes at least. So I went for your David Cronenberg ideal, although I wasn't too sure about it because he's not a director. He's like what I would consider one of my favorites. But anyway, tell me why you wanted to talk about David Cronenberg.
Well, because he's Canadian.
Right.
And I've followed his career almost from the start. He did a really cheap thing called Rabid, which was kind of a sort of a zombie type movie, but like fast zombies,
Yeah.
which was not normal back in the day.
Okay,
And
fast zombies. That sounds quite scary.
yeah, no, it was horror. No, he became known. It was really low budget, but really gory, and people are infected, and they become rabid, and they attack other people and eat them. And it's shot in Montreal on the cheap, in the metro and in the streets, and
yeah.
Really low budget, very grainy kind of film from the 70s, and we just thought it was amazing.
Would that have been like his kind of breakout movie?
I think so.
Right.
Although not it was probably still pretty art house, still.
Right, slightly pre-breakout sort of thing.
But he already, you could tell he had something to him. It was a schlock genre film, horror. And he became associated with that idea of body horror,
Right. What does schlock mean? When you say schlock, I don't understand what you mean.
It's like cheap and exploitative.
Right. Okay.
I don't know. That's the adjective I use: schlock or schlocky.
Okay, good to know.
And
yeah, because this is good, interesting. I'm interested to speak to you about just the horror genre in general, because it's probably, of my movie collection of like owned Blu-rays, for example, like that's the one genre I've maybe got. I could probably hold in one hand how many Blu-rays I have of horror, because it's not been my favorite. So I'm really interested to know ask you more about that, just the genre in general, as well as David Cronenberg.
Yeah, it's not my favorite at all by a long shot. I think Cronenberg's really atypical in a lot of ways, although he might connect now with a younger generation. Like, did you see the film Get Out not too long ago?
Yes. Now, see,
Okay.
there's an
I
example of a
I
horror
think
I did
that
like.
I think that owes a debt to Cronenberg because he's always seen the horror genre as a vehicle to talk about people and their deep psychological problems.
Interesting, yeah. Not
Yeah.
just as a kind of like shock,
No,
kind of, yeah, not
I
just a popcorn movie.
yeah, exactly, and it's it's not just the typical slasher flick or something
Yeah,
like that. It's
yeah,
he has you could tell right from the start there was something that set him apart. I think
right.
it's probably his interest in psychology and people and society, and he always structures the film really carefully, even though it's a genre film, to bring those elements through.
So would you say you've seen like the majority of his movies? I mean, are you a
No,
fan? Would you call yourself a fan?
I'm a fan for sure. I think
Right.
it's extraordinary what he's done, because to go from like people biting each other on the metro to like uh did you hear about a film called Dead Ringers with Jeremy Irons playing these twin psychologists who are really psycho?
I've heard the name, but I didn't know anything about it. No,
It's also one of his, and that was a big kind of mainstream hit for him. Um,
he certainly worked with some great actors.
Oh yeah, and they want to work with him because they know he builds interesting stuff into the films that they can work with.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like you talking about the psychology. I mean, that's something that actors love to get into.
But he still has that other side, which has been really popular. People who like horror films really dig him because he does bring the core. Um,
Yeah.
but he can get really, really freaky, really weird and out there and psychological. Like he must have watched some of like the Japanese film Ringu.
No.
Oh, you should. Well, it's really scary. It's terrifying, but it's kind of like it's psychological horror, right?
Yeah.
It's really terrifying about this. Uh, I think it's like a videotape or something that you put it on and it like possesses you and you get drawn into it
Right.
and I think he's very close to that with an early film called Videodrome, which
I've heard of that
starred
one. Yeah.
Debbie Harry.
Right.
Uh, and that's a film that you should probably see. It's so cool and it's really psychedelic and really freaky.
See, I remember growing up and being quite young and being in the video shop or the video store, the video shop in UK, we used to call it
Yeah.
the rental place, and seeing like covers of some of David Cronenberg's movies and just thinking, oh my God, that looks so bad, so scary, so horrendous. Like
Yeah.
just the covers alone was kind of giving me nightmares as as a
He
child.
pushes it, and they were marketing him that way for years and years and years.
Yeah.
But this film that we both watched recently, A History of Violence, is a whole new chapter in his work.
Yeah, it's funny because when you said David Cronenberg, my first reaction was, right, oh, right, what David Cronenberg's movies have I actually seen?
Mm.
And then when you mentioned The Fly, I was like, okay, yeah, The Fly. I've seen that a couple of times at least. And and I like that just for the sci-fi element
Yeah,
and
and
also
Jeff
again
Goldblum.
a great actors again.
Yeah,
Yeah, Jeff Goldblum, Gina Davis. I
yeah.
remember having a bit of a crush on Gina Davis when I was younger.
Who didn't?
Um, yeah. And so yeah, I remembered that. But then I was like, okay, I'm not sure if there's many. So first we talking about that, and then I wasn't. Then I was trying to think. I don't know why. I think maybe I looked him up on IMDb or something just to see what other
Mm.
movies he's done, and I saw. Oh, wait a minute, yeah, there's a couple of Viggo Mortensen
Mhm.
movies that he's done,
Yeah,
and Viggo Mortensen is like one of my favorite actors. He's
yeah.
really up there in my top, probably at least top 10 favorite actors.
He's quite extraordinary. He really holds the camera. He's got a real aura about him.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. He's really got range,
Also,
he
yeah, yeah,
can
yeah, for
he
sure.
can
Yeah.
play like all types of characters, which I love. And anyway, when I saw that there was this movie that I saw I think I watched it during lockdown. Uh, what was it called again? Sorry.
Eastern Promises?
No, A History of Violence. The one we're supposed to be
History of
talking
Violence.
about.
Okay.
The one that I watched just the other night. A History of Violence. Yeah, I remember I was watching that recently and thinking, oh, that was really good. And Eastern Promises, yeah, exactly. I think maybe during lockdown I was like, just looking for movies to watch, and so IMDb is a great resource for just finding, like, okay, you like a director, you're like an actor,
Yeah.
like let's find more about what they did. And I
Yeah.
think I looked up Viggo Mortensen and found these movies, and I think that's how I ended up watching them recently.
Yeah, he's pretty awesome in them.
So yeah, so let's start talking about A
Okay.
History of Violence.
Okay.
Where should we start? Okay, let's start with the beginning. Like what what would have you got anything to say about like how the movie starts?
Well, it's really quite an out of the ordinary beginning, isn't it? It's one shot
Yeah.
that lasts about like 2 minutes, or possibly more.
Yeah, it really lingers.
Yeah, and I was wondering about why he did that, because I mean it's not a film that uses a lot of long shots, but that opening shot is a pan along the
Yeah.
facade of a hotel or
Yeah.
a motel, one of those typical cheap rundown one-story motels
Exactly.
you find all across North America.
Yeah.
It was in fact the same motel that was used in the recent TV show Schitt's Creek.
All right. Oh, okay. Was it?
Yeah, it's
No way.
same motel. And uh, I just was remembering the advice from I think Steve Martin. They asked him, like, how do you make a movie funny? And he said, okay, like, you got to signal to the audience right at the beginning that it's a funny movie. You have to do something that's sillier and more over the top funny than the rest of the movie to let the audience know that
This is a comedy.
that's a comedy. Yeah. And this is the
Okay.
opposite. He obviously wants people to be meditative. And he described it when I read an interview with the director. He said, yeah, this is a meditation on the relationship between the human body and violence.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, the first thing I thought when this opening scene, immediately just thought Tarantino.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what. Maybe it was just the scene, just the fact that it was a motel and a couple of dodgy guys, and guns involved and that sort of stuff.
Tarantino territory. Yeah.
They're putting on the radio, sparking a cigarette. There was a whole kind of Tarantino vibe to it. And then even more so, I guess, when he goes in and there's the dead bodies, blood splattered everywhere, he just casually grabs a Sprite or something, but yeah, it was interesting how long that whole. It's almost like it was filmed by a different director. The way
I was going to say it was probably shot by like a second unit director, but that motel is in the town where they shot all the other town shots, the outdoor shots, which is the same name as the fictional town in the film. It's called like Milltown or something, but it's in Canada, not in the States.
I thought it was interesting the way it contrasted, because your initial thoughts are like a couple of dodgy guys, and then you see what they've just done, and you're like, okay, they're really dodgy guys. And then the contrast of going into, if I remember correctly, just goes straight into this kind of like idyllic small town scenario, and it's all kind of more upbeat. Although I say upbeat, there is still like there's like a dark kind of darkness to the whole movie, even the kind of upbeat bits. But this is probably the least dark part of the movie.
I think that also that opening shot with the bodies and the blood at the end of it is there to cause that contrast with that kind of idyllic little town. Yeah.
And then you go into the kind of the happy lives and everything, and you almost kind of forget about those guys.
Yeah.
Like you forget about them quite quickly, you
Yeah.
know. And
And
it's not
then they
until
show up.
it's not until you show up later on you're like, but then the good, because of that scene at the beginning when they show up, you're like,
Yeah.
okay, I know these guys are
Yeah.
really bad, you know.
Yeah.
It's not just that look he gives the baseball player in the car. It's like you
Mhm.
know, you already know they're bad. That's already been established.
Yeah.
But so what do you think about the way he establishes like the family, the main character,
Mm.
Tom, isn't it?
Yeah.
What do you think about how that he goes about all that?
I think it's central to the film. That's the thing about him as a director, is I think he's always doing something for a reason. Yeah, it's there because he wants to establish that this man is peaceful, he's gentle, he's a great dad, he's an amazing husband, and he's sweet and romantic and all these things, and considerate of his friends there in the diner, and you know and so he's setting up the revelation later in the film about this man's past and his real nature and his relationship to violence. And he's just, I find he's almost like Hitchcock in a way, in the way that he thinks of the concepts and organizes events and settings and even atmospheres to make that happen for the spectator.
It does feel like he does feel like he's manipulating how you're thinking about everything,
Yeah,
you
for
know,
sure. and
as
and
you're
that's
going through it.
absolutely, and that's straight, like Tarantino does the same thing, and Hitchcock was the master of that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and that's one thing I really liked about this movie. So let's talk about. I mean, I don't know if we should jump so far, but I do feel like it's the main theme, and if anyone's listening, major spoilers.
Yeah, big
This is
time
not a
spoilers.
spoiler-free discussion. When the big twist, or one of the big twists, I guess it's a few. The main twist of um how this guy Tom is not actually Tom. He's some other
Mm,
guy, and he's not this. And there's a lot more to him than you first realize.
mm.
At what point did you know about that before you watched the movie, or and if not, at what point did you
No.
realize?
When he shot the guys, like what those two gangsters who came into his diner,
Right.
because what he did, he was trained. I mean, that's like he's a trained killer. You can see it, and that's the point of it. That scene. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. See, I didn't get it
Oh
that
no.
soon.
Oh
No,
yeah, no, I see.
I think that I didn't get it. I mean, maybe I just thought, watching movies in general, there's so many guns in American movies and in most in all movies really, and like you're so kind of used to seeing action scenes and stuff. I guess that
Yeah.
wasn't enough to trigger like my
Mm.
doubt or whatever. Um and
When
even and
when
even
did you
when
realize
well
it?
that's the thing, even when the guys turned up, what's the actor's name with the eye
Ed Harris.
Ed Harris turns out, I love Ed Harris. When he turns up, didn't and he's like calling him Joey,
Mhm.
still didn't click. Even when like it really didn't click to me until I think it was the kind of showdown
Yeah.
in front of his house with
Wow.
the guy. It really didn't click till then.
Wow. Until he said that he was Joey. Yeah. Until
Pretty
he
much, yeah.
recognized it
I mean, I don't
himself.
remember exactly the point, but I remember it just being like quite late on in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, but that's part of the fun. That's part of the game, isn't it? Like now, of course, I mean, watching it, this is like my third time watching it. Uh, uh, Now I notice in that initial action scene where he shoots the two guys who come into his diner and attack the people, he he shoots the first guy, but like three times, I think, blows him right out the front door.
Right.
He and you can maybe think, okay, maybe
Because
he's
it's
just like
the first guy that's taking the woman,
yeah,
and so
he's
he's basically
threatening to rape the
yeah.
woman, and he just blows him away, which of course makes him a hero, right? And I didn't think then. I thought maybe he just like did it instinctively or something, even
And he
though
happens to be a great shot.
yeah, and is um which is not easy with a pistol, people tell me. But then the other guy stabs his foot with a knife.
That's right.
He gets up off the floor and stabs him with the foot in the foot with a knife, and he turns, and the way they cut it and the way they shoot it, there's a pause after he aims at the guy with, he's got the knife in his foot and the guy's down on the floor, and there's a pause in that shot. It's longer than it would normally be, and he executes the guy. He shoots
What does he do? He shoots him like
him right in the middle of the forehead or something.
Oh
no, he shoots his face off.
He shoots him like from below the chin or something.
His whole face is falling off.
Yeah. That, I mean, that when he falls down and you get that shot of his like jaw kind of, he's like broke, his smashed jaw kind of, that was very horror to me, that shot.
It is, and that is what Cronenberg's famous for. And apparently they edited that out of one of the versions, like
Really?
They released it without the gory shots. There were a couple of really gory shots, which are the typical Cronenberg signature.
Because it's almost like those gory shots kind of almost make it like a different movie. Just those few shots alone.
They really jump out, don't they?
Yeah.
I suspect it's the producers who said, no, you got to have some gore in there. We can't sell this thing without that. and then in certain markets,
and he's happy to oblige, probably.
yeah. Well, actually, I read some of the guys on the crew saying that in the showdown in front of the house at the end, when he faces Ed Harris's character and his henchmen, they shot an alternative scene which was not used at all, where Ed Harris gets a shotgun blast through his torso, and they shot him pulling a gun out of his guts and shooting the son or something.
Oh my god.
Which is possibly from the original comic book that it was based on.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, we should touch on that actually, because have you read the graphic novel?
No, I've never seen the book.
I noticed actually. I mean, I probably noticed it the first time I watched it, but just recently watching it this week, that I noticed that again just when the credits came up, based on a graphic novel. I thought that was interesting. I'd like to read the graphic novel now, actually, after seeing the movie. So yeah, okay. So you got it. Well, I did enjoy watching it again recently this week because that was only the second time I'd seen it, and watching any movie where there's like some kind of twist like that is always interesting. Watching it again with the knowledge, of what's to come, because then you see the little clues and things, you see the little you see the foreshadowing, all this kind of stuff that the director's putting in there. So it was good to watch it again with that knowledge.
Absolutely.
And I kind of felt a bit stupid for not.
No, but that means it works. Like that's the way it's supposed to work.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, and I think it's also testament to the acting from Viggo, because he like he's so good at playing this new character he's devised for himself, Tom, that like you just think, no, Tom's a good guy, come on. Like, this can't be, it must be a mix-up, and you kind of think, and you think, well, the film, I generally thought the film was going to be like about how, mistaken identity, and he's going to have this poor guy is going to have to learn to, like, defend his family against mistaken identity, that in itself still would have been quite a cool movie, but different movie. Okay. So let's talk about the moment when Ed Harris comes into the diner, because
Yeah.
that's the kind of turning point, really, of at least from we've talked about how the idyllic scenes of his life in the village or the town,
Yeah.
and then it all changes when Ed Harris and his
Yeah.
henchmen come in.
Yeah.
What did you think about that scene?
It's terrifying. It's like everyone's worst nightmare, right? Uh, because
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
there's nothing you can do about that except respond with violence, right? I think that's supposed to be it. It's supposed to be like a one of those existential threats that if you're watching the movie for the first time, you say, well, yeah, of course he's going to respond with violence to his family being threatened, you know? And you're still thinking, yeah, he's a good man, but he's going to fight for it is kind of a typical American trope, isn't it? That idea of, you know, the right of the individual to defend his, you know, his
Yeah.
family and his property against
Yeah. Well,
these
for
evil.
example, I did notice how, when later on he has a shot, he has to his wife, get the shotgun. I'm thinking, he lives in this little idyllic village
Mm,
with a kind of, very non-threatening life, and then but he
mm,
happens to have a shotgun in the house with bullets. I'm like,
mm.
is that standard?
I mean, it probably is. I mean, especially if you live in the country. I mean, in Canada, there are like everybody who lives in the country has a gun, right? A rifle or a shotgun or something for,
Why?
well, for like some kind of dangerous animals, and you know, they've got a couple of kids, and you know, you get your little girl carried off by a cougar or something, or you know, they're and then, but that's Canada, right? And it would, or for hunting, it could be for like I mean, that didn't look like a duck hunting gun. That was a pretty big fucking shotgun.
Yeah.
But you know,
The
for
wife knew exactly where to go. And she, like, okay, she's running through, she was behind a bunch of stuff, but like she knew where to go for the rifle. She's getting
yeah,
the bullet. She knew what to
yeah,
do and
yeah,
everything.
yeah. But I think also in the States there's a big culture of that idea of self-defense. Like in fact, it's not illegal in the States to shoot somebody who comes into your house, you know.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
So would you think, let's say, of this family, why do you think they had the shotgun?
Well, like that's what I'm saying. I think it's like for me as a North American, I think, yeah, of course they got a shotgun, you know. I mean, like
But
my
what the guy would have had to go, they have to get a license or something, right?
uh
Or can you just,
in Canada, you certainly have to have a license. I'm not sure what this thing is in the States. There's the National Rifle Association, which defends the constitutional right in the States for everyone to carry a fucking weapon.
but I assumed that, like, you still had to have some kind of like permit or something just to own a weapon like that.
I mean, as like I said, you certainly do in Canada, but I don't know about the States. I mean, you can buy that shit at Walmart. You can buy a shotgun and shells at Walmart in the States.
So let's say whether you had to get a license or not. Let's say, like, why do you think that he would have had to go and buy the rifle and buy some ammunition?
Yeah.
Like, what do you think? Okay, let's say she did it, because if it was Tom slash Joey, then we know why he might have done it, because he might be thinking, okay, some guys he might have imagined this scenario happening one day, although it doesn't seem to be the case.
No.
But let's say the wife was the one that bought the shotgun, or let's say, like, what are you saying that most Americans that have like
Who
a
live in
gun
the
in the
country
house,
of
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
are they buying it because of just
It's for, yeah, it's just in case, you know.
in defense, but like with their imaginary scenario, it would be like,
I mean, it could be like animals, yeah. It could be like a cat or wolves or bears or something like that,
right, okay,
or people, you know, like house invasion, somebody coming to rob and the
so it would be
place.
both. You just pretty much
I think
everything,
so. I think so.
right?
And I think it
Okay,
would be in a community like that. And in Canada also, I think it'd be standard. I mean, my brother's friend Sean, who has a place way out in the woods, has a rifle for bears.
right, okay. See, I mean, there's a few things there I can't relate to. One, having animals that are basically threatening to humans, like that could come near your house, because here in Scotland there aren't any.
Mm,
And secondly, being able to, just buy a gun if you want one.
mm,
Thirdly, I guess the idea of like criminals, like people being, it's kind of like if criminals could have a gun, then you need a gun. Whereas
mm,
here, like, I mean, like I
mm,
remember during lockdown there was start to be there was stories of a lot of burglaries happening. So I got a
mm.
baseball bat,
Right. Yeah, 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 yeah,
just in
yeah.
case, that I
Yeah,
had
yeah,
next to the bed.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I guess if I'd known the likelihood of the burglars having guns, maybe I would have got a gun instead.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, even the cops don't have guns in Scotland, right? Or yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like the availability of these weapons, it raises the
Mm.
stakes.
Yep.
So they bring a gun, you need to bring a gun, sort of thing.
Yep. And that is part of this thing of violence. It the United States is a very violent society in all senses of the words, I think. And the quote I heard from Viggo Mortensen about the film is he thought it was a great film noir.
Yeah.
So he put, and I read that after I'd seen it. And I said, yeah, fuck, of course. Because I was looking at some of the scenes in their house, which at the beginning is very sunny and very idyllic and everything
Yeah.
shot that way. And then when this stuff starts to happen, the shots in the same house,
They get darker.
which were shot on the diner was shot on a sound stage, just a studio, but I think the house was probably a real house. They get a lot darker.
Yeah.
And I remember noticing and thinking, it looks weird. It looks old. It looks like and of course it looks like those old film noirs, the kind of people in Los Angeles, in the early 50s, everything's corrupt and dark and violent. And
Yeah, I think he uses the kind of he uses shadows a lot deliberately. It's not just like lack of budget or something. He's
no, no,
deliberately
no, no,
using
no.
shadows um to create that emotion within you, like that kind of there's that feeling of like something's not right at the beginning
Yeah.
there, and then later it's all about like what do you know, what don't you know, what's being hidden,
Mm,
what's being revealed, all this kind of stuff. So he
yeah,
plays with that a lot.
absolutely.
um Talking about when you're saying about America being a violent society, I did occur to me actually that thought, not in any of the most violent scenes, but actually when there was the scene of the kind of the bully after the baseball
Yeah,
match with the son,
yeah,
and just this like straight to kind of violent, like just kind of like the fact, the way, even just the way the bully walks off, and he's kind of like he kind of flicks his hat or something, and you can see this like violence in that guy, just
yeah.
ready to
Mm,
go.
yeah.
And the way he speaks to the kid, and all the kid did was like catch the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
And don't get me wrong, you get bullies in every country, but
Yeah, of course.
that kind of like violence, that kind of I have wondered. I mean, I watch a lot of American sports, and there does seem to be the way people talk about, like, there's a kind of respect for bigger guys. So, oh, he's really heavy, he's really big, he's really tall, and
Yeah,
like there seems to a lot of stuff. I mean, as a small guy myself, a
yeah,
short guy, and there's a lot of jokes are just like about small guys,
yeah.
that's kind of not considered like offensive, but like personally being a small guy, I do find it a little bit offensive.
Oh yeah, no, but like, and just the idea that might makes right. It's a side. Like, look at the person they elected for president. He's a big bully. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's like this kind of respect, like if you're big and you're strong, there's like more respect. I mean, I guess you get that in all cultures. That's one of the reasons why we are where we are historically. But
Mm.
like, yeah, I do wonder if there's even more of that in America compared to some other countries.
Well, I mean, I think there are probably a lot of countries in the world that are quite violent societies. But the film is called A History of Violence.
Yeah.
And of course, I guess that refers to, Tom, Joey, his past as a gangster, but the son,
Culturally,
like, why is that there? Why is that in the movie? The son getting bullied at school. And then after his dad shoots the two guys in the diner, the
yeah.
son is really pumped up about it. And then the next time the bully comes around, the son, who looks like he couldn't, push over
Like he's never been in a fight, basically.
yeah, and the bully is counting on that, and the son absolutely destroys, puts him in the hospital with his bare fists. uh it made me.
I love the whole stuff with the
Mm,
son. For me, that's one of my favorite aspects of the movie.
mm. I think that's critical. I think it's right at the center of the film. The idea of that the father's history of violence empowered the son to use violence to get what he wanted.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
now he has a history of violence also. He always knows that violence is an option in every encounter.
Yeah, there's so many aspects of that I can think about it in so many different ways, because there's that aspect, there's the aspect of he's like following his father's footsteps, so how
Mhm.
much of violence is genetic, because he hasn't been taught it by his
Mhm.
father, but maybe it's genetic. There's the aspect of like how much violence is psychological. It's not necessarily about how big you are or what weapons you have.
Yeah,
It's like a
no.
lot of it's like, okay, what mindset are you
Yeah.
in? Like, often it's like sport as well. Often
Mhm.
who has the better mindset,
Yeah.
wins. And
They
there's an
yeah.
element of violence was it's not always the biggest guy that wins the fight.
Yeah. No, yeah, the language is the signal of it for sure. The language around sports, yeah. They absolutely destroyed them, they kicked the shit out of them, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Um,
and like and for me, it wasn't so much for me the reason he was able to you know destroy the bully
mm,
was 100% psychological.
yeah. Yeah.
Obviously if the bully had been like double his size and he was a weakling, then might have not worked out quite as well, but um his whole mindset was how he won that fight.
Yeah. Yeah, because he was more aggressive and he surprised the other guy. Yeah.
And
And
like, yeah, what do you think it was that gave him that kind of that put him in that mindset? Do you think it was like
because his dad had just blown two guys away and
yeah,
was
so do you
being
think it was like
celebrated as a hero for it.
a confidence that you got from that?
Yeah.
Right.
And that idea that, like, suddenly it was conceivable, like, because the the bully was taunting him, saying, "Oh, your dad's going to be ashamed of you, because
Yeah.
we're going to beat you up, and dad's going to be ashamed of you."
Yeah, the bully was
And
really pressing his buttons.
yeah, and the film had gone to great lengths to show that the son was uh
It was
he
passive.
worshipped his dad. His dad was a hero
Oh
to
yeah,
him.
sure.
Like, before they had a great relationship and everything, but like, because of that scene where he shoots two guys and saves the people there,
Yeah.
and they have the scene of Viggo and the family coming out of the hospital, and there's a crowd of people from the town there to applaud him as a hero as he comes out.
Yeah.
Why was that scene there? Like, those things are there for a reason, right? It's to, I think, establish that
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 also that also sorry, that also kind of speaks about the cultural side of it, how, like even though the guy basically killed people, he's worshipped as a hero,
Yep.
as opposed to like, taking the trial and like, okay, you were under threat, but you didn't have to kill the guys. It's more like, yeah, you got them.
Right. Yeah, they were bad people. They deserved to die.
Yeah, and and then that plays in later when you're because when there's the reveal of him as he's definitely Joey,
Mm,
and he definitely killed people in the past, and he definitely was involved in organized crime and stuff.
yeah.
Um, you're then kind of in your mind, you're kind of like you don't know whether to root for him or not,
Right. Yep.
because
That's, yeah.
and
That's
and
the
and, and because the before the celebrating the violence as the hero. So then he's not only is he established as a good guy, but he's established as a good guy that used violence, but for good.
Yeah.
So that's okay. And then when you find out that he used violence in the past, that not only has he lied to his family for years, and the whole village really, but he obviously was violent in the past and killed people for less heroic, we assume, less heroic purposes. So then you're like, are you rooting for this guy? Because then, because when it's revealed, the movie then becomes, well, okay, I'm jumping a little bit, but it becomes about him, him against his past, him against the gangsters and stuff, and you're not sure whether you're really rooting for him, because it's the whole stuff with the family and the wife that just want to go to, before we move on to the end part of the movie. I think the Maria Bello, she I think is brilliant in this as well.
She's playing a lawyer who is horrified when she realizes that she's been married all these years to this guy who she was totally in love with, who's like a criminal and a violent, murderer. And you can see the how conflicted she is, how it's tearing her up. And that is the center of the film for sure for me. And you see that they separate his life with his family when they're rejecting him, and he goes on that long night journey back to Philadelphia to face his brother, face his past, and that's a symbolic journey, the long journey of the long night of the soul there. And
sure. And he's moving away from the family, he's moving away from that life, like literally.
And he goes back and faces his brother.
I thought it was interesting how he used the sex scenes. Because they really, I heard in another podcast actually, apparently Cronenberg's quite famous for using sex scenes to kind of show character traits in the characters. Is that something you've noticed before?
Oh yeah, like the Videodrome is all about like sex and death and the kind of crossovers there. And
in The Fly, was there a sex scene? I don't remember. It's that long ago since I saw it. Was there a sex scene in The Fly? Because she was romantically involved in him, wasn't he?
I don't know. It wouldn't have been as explicit as this because it was way back then. I think actually The Fly was probably his big mainstream breakthrough film. And I think it was marketed. It wasn't marketed as X, right? So they wanted it. They want the teenagers going, and they wanted it in the cinemas. So I'm sure he uses romance and because you remember, like in The Fly, Goldblum becomes like hyper athletic and really like revved up. He's like full of testosterone or whatever flies have as the equivalent. And and I'm sure, I don't remember it because I haven't seen it for decades, but I think he's always examining the same concerns. Cronenberg, again and again, he's coming back to it because the two sex scenes in this film are essentially the center of the first part and the center of the second part, right?
I do feel like he as a director, I wonder, he seems to like making the viewer uncomfortable.
Oh yeah,
because I find those. Sorry, go.
I mean, he does that first part with the idyllic little town and family life, and that's not him. Like Cronenberg is a very dark man.
He's just lulling you into a false sense of security.
And just to get that contrast the way he did with
to make it even more kind of like upsetting or
and
hard-hitting.
And he's obsessed with this idea of getting inside. He's obsessed with it, right? And like he does it physically with the bodies, but I think he's really obsessed with this idea of, okay, so the role play, the little cheerleader outfit and the sex, which I thought was a great sex scene. They were both like they had equal. They were equally empowered. They're having fun. They're playful, and it seemed really wholesome. And but it was fake in a way. It's like because he's being Tom the whole, oh gee, what are you doing? And like, and she's taking the initiative, and
Yeah,
that's
it's like he's not that. He's like, maybe he hasn't had so many relationships or something. Whereas later on, they talk about how
yeah,
oh, you remember you pinned her against the bar or something. Like he was
exactly.
known with his
Why is
that
that in
contrast.
there? It's because
Uh,
it's that he's dealing with that idea of sex and the attraction, for the bad boy. Like, why are those guys more sexually attractive than the good guys?
Yeah, that's another interesting aspect of it. Like, why are violent people? What's the attraction with
Yeah,
violence? And
because
all, and what's the attraction for for both sexes,
yeah.
for whether it's romantic or other types of attraction. Sorry.
Mhm.
Um.
Absolutely. I think that's really explicit because that's why he has the second sex scene. He could have done the movie without that second sex scene on the stairs.
Yeah.
But
It
but
says a
I
lot. It tells us a lot.
yeah. And it's her. I because I was shocked by it because I hadn't remembered it from because I saw it a long time ago. And uh and I thought about it afterwards. I was like, why'd she do that? And I figured it's because she's a mother, right? When there's violence, I think like the parents defend the children. Like that's your instinct. You'll do anything to defend your kids.
Right.
And I think she she knew that she couldn't defend her kids against this kind of crazed gangster violence.
Right. So it's like
And
better to be on
she
his side, kind of thing.
needed him exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was so many interesting aspects of that. Talking about the role play thing. There's. It's almost like she's in the second sex scene. It's like she's playing the role of like, let's see if I wonder if there's part of it like, let's see if I can live with this.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a suggestion maybe that she's attracted to the fact that like of the kind of the violence and the bad guy stuff.
Mm.
There's maybe like you say, it's more just a defense thing. She's like, okay, he because it starts off them being violent towards her, and
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he's trying to rape her, but he's certainly being violent towards her.
Yeah. She
And
like she's like smacking him.
and
And
so it's initially a fight, but there
yeah,
is a moment where it kind of turns where she
yeah,
accepts it. And does she accept it because, like you say, it's she thinks, okay, I'm doing the right thing for my family, or does she accept it because she's actually a little bit turned on, or does she accept it because she's thinking, okay, I need to see if I still love this guy, if this can still work,
yeah, for sure. I
and
think all
again
those
playing the
things
role
are in
sort of
there.
thing.
I think all you can't really separate those things, can you?
Yeah, so it's actually really, yeah, like you say, those two scenes are really important for character and understanding how relationship is changing.
Yeah.
But then afterwards, she pretty much looks pretty disgusted by him, and she lets
Yeah,
him know that like this is not like, hey, everything's
yeah,
okay,
not
kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she like they he sleeps on the sofa and
Yeah,
uh
and you see her like sitting up in bed at night with the bruise and
yeah,
on the back, and
yeah,
she's obviously struggling to deal with it, like the way when she comes and meets him in the hospital, and she's like violently sick and
yeah,
everything, when she
yeah,
realized when he doesn't like deny anything.
yeah,
uh Again, that's kind of like, I say violently sick, it's more violent.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
And
then,
that's a
sorry.
that's a violent shock, yeah, to realize, oh my God, I've been with this guy for what they've been together like what, like 20 years or something, and I
Yeah,
didn't
and to realize he's
realize.
hidden like so much like of his character. She's like, are you like some kind of like psycho, like, are you split personality, what the fuck,
Yeah,
um so yeah, and then the whole stuff, there's the stuff with the son, there's the stuff with the wife, the police guy is also, although he's not like a main character, he's also signaling that okay, that this looks dodgy. Not even just to the people that know it's dodgy, but it's starting to look dodgy to everybody. So he realizes he has to kind of. Does he get the call from his brother, or does the brother call him? I can't remember. I think maybe the brother calls him.
The brother calls him. Yeah.
And so he realized he has to go and kind of like end this, like he has to go and sort this out one way or another, whether his family is going to accept him or not. He wants to just kind of get like, wipe away the last remnants of his previous life. What did you think about William Hurt as the brother?
Again, a great actor. He had one scene, and he's a really serious character in the movie. So disgusting, such a horrible person.
Yeah, there is something kind of, I don't know what it is about it, but there's something kind of like comical about his face. I don't know what it is. I find his face to be kind of, maybe it's the beard that got over. Maybe it's because I know William Hurt from other movies. I at first I found that I wasn't convinced he was like that bad a guy at first for some reason. I suppose that, the whole kind of like meeting seeing them, he's like hugging him and kissing him and joking and everything. And I thought maybe he's not,
I mean,
Hurt, like I knew he was a bad guy, but
Hurt is also one of those actors who loves revealing layers in the character. There's a superficial layer, and then the real animal part comes out, and that certainly happens in that scene.
He's another guy who's probably in my top 10 favorite actors, I have to say. I love him. I really liked him in have you seen that movie Smoke with another of my top 10 actors?
Wow. No, I don't remember it.
No.
Is that the one like set in like New York in the little corner shop and that sort of thing?
Harvey Keitel.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I didn't
Harvey
remember.
Keitel is amazing in it.
Yeah. Nice. Great.
Have you seen it?
I saw it years ago. I saw it just once in the cinema. I don't remember William Hurt in it. I remember Harvey Keitel.
William Hurt's a writer in it.
Okay.
That lives in New York. But anyway, I recommend that movie.
Okay, I'll go back and check it out.
Pretty different movie from this one.
Yeah.
So I'm keeping an eye on the time. I'm guessing you're gonna have to wrap up in about 20 minutes or something.
Something like that, yeah.
So what did you think about how it panned out, with the visit to his brother in Philadelphia was it Philadelphia? Yeah.
I mean, it was shot in Toronto, but yeah, it's Philadelphia. Okay. They just changed the street signs.
Right. Okay. So what did you think about that whole scene and what it meant for Joey / Tom, the character?
Yeah. He like I think Cronenberg's playing with that character as being a kind of an anti-hero, right? A kind almost. They're weird things. Like he says, it was like 3 years in the desert, trying to get rid of Joey. And there's this line when he's explaining things to his to his wife. And, and like that indicates like it's like a spiritual kind of thing for like they're trying to connect it to like he
wears a cross as well, or doesn't he?
Yeah. He did his best to get away from being a killer, from being Joey. He tried to be a good man, and the world came back and enforced him to be a bad man again. And that is a central kind of thing that happens in the film noirs, right?
Is it right? Okay. And so because he could have gone back to his brother and just become like this total wise guy, like just joking around with the guys and trying to say, look, I'll make. Okay, obviously, he knew that he was under threat, but he still acted and sounded like the Tom really in a lot of ways. He didn't suddenly turn into this despicable character, at least the way he was acting.
the brother attacks that life. He says, "What? So you like being married and living on a farm?" And that's
Yeah, and he says, yeah, he does. Like, and you believe him,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So and again, that's one of the reasons I think you can. I find myself rooting for him because you're like, okay, come on, he's a good guy,
Well, I mean, and the film sets it up that way because the brother says to him, like, "You cost me because of what you did, like killing somebody and then leaving and disappearing and everything.
Yeah,
I had to pay a price for it, I never became like the big boss, and I could have been, and Joey says, well, you're doing okay. They're sitting there in his mansion, and the guy's drinking
yeah,
expensive whiskey and whatever, and and yeah, he's obviously doing okay, but that's the thing. Like, again, that kind of that violent gangster, there's never enough, that greed, you got to have more. And he's going to kill his own brother because the brother cost him.
yeah. And where he's like the brother, his life is almost like the opposite
Yeah,
of Rich. Is it Richie? It's almost like the opposite
yeah,
in the
it's
fact that
Richie.
he doesn't have a lot. He's got his little business, but he's not like got riches. He's got the he's got the opposite of what the brothers, they talk about the marriage, and the brother's not interested in marriage. They
Yeah,
talk about, the money, he's quite happy, Tom's
yeah,
quite happy with his little house, and
yeah,
Richie wants more.
yeah.
They're opposite in many ways. Um, and so, yeah, you do find yourself, well, I don't know, were you rooting for him at
Oh
that
yeah,
point? Yeah.
oh yeah, 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 for sure. um and like when his wife discovered and was throwing up, and then like I was, damn, like, it's how can he fix this?
I
That was
know.
my reaction. And I was thinking, no, there's no way to fix this. And yet the film finds a way.
Well, yeah, so and I just say before we move on to the very end scene, I did really enjoy the kind of I enjoyed all the kind of violent scenes, to be honest. To be
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
honest, like I thought they were really well done. It was great action, and that scene with the brother at the end and the bodyguards and stuff. It was really kind of like it took you for a moment. You're in like an action movie,
yep.
because he disappears and goes to the open door and what's going
Mhm.
on, and the other bodyguards following, and you're like, it's quite exciting at that point. It's quite different from the rest of the movie, and the fact that
Yep.
suddenly you're an action movie.
Yep.
And then he goes to then you could say the kind of religious aspect of the way he goes to the water and washes away
Oh
his
yeah.
sins, or well, he's washing away the bloods, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and he's naked, and it's like he's ready to kind of like that's him finally washed away everything from his past.
yeah,
He goes back to the home, and yeah, talking about film noir, that's like almost one of the darkest scenes.
yeah, yeah, it
There's
is.
very little light. It should be like a bright, happy scenario. It's a
Yeah.
family sitting down to dinner, but instead it's all really dark and
Yeah,
shadows.
yeah,
Lots of shots on just the faces
yeah,
of each member of the family,
yeah.
and
And no dialogue.
yeah, hardly. I think is the daughter is maybe the only one that speaks, or does
Well,
she, or
she
she
might
just set the
say hi,
table?
daddy, or something. She just
Yeah,
goes over.
or maybe just
I
sets the
think they
table.
don't say anything. She
I think
stands
you may
up,
be right.
walks over and gets a plate and brings it over and puts it down for him.
Yeah, and she's obviously oblivious to
Yeah,
everything.
yeah, yeah,
So you think, okay, and then you're kind of waiting for, okay, what are the rest of the family going to do? Because
yeah,
they're not oblivious.
yeah,
They know
exactly.
what's going on. They're
Yeah,
imagining what kind of life he's had in the past. They're imagining what he's just been up to
yeah,
just now.
yeah,
Um, and then you get like the son then
yeah,
passes him the meatloaf.
yeah.
And again, the meatloaf I think is kind of symbolic of like, how he's not living a particularly luxurious life.
It is like the symbol of that kind of lower middle class North American thing. My
Yeah.
mom made a mean meatloaf.
Yeah. Plus, you could say like the fact that there's meat, this big plate of meat after all the blood and gore we've seen. Maybe there's
Well,
like
look,
something kind of gross about
I
that.
think meatloaf is the most like processed kind of version of meat you could have.
I don't even know what meatloaf is, but that's another conversation.
Yeah. It's
But
just cheap. It's just cheap protein.
so you get so the daughter is obviously happy to have him back. The son, with the gesture of the meatloaf,
Yeah.
seems to be accepting as well. And
Yeah.
then the final shots are just big close-ups of
Yeah.
the wife's face, his face, the wife's face.
Yeah. And what did you see going on there in their faces?
I thought it was really well done, because it just leaves you with exactly what you're kind of always been thinking. You've gone from kind of rooting for him,
Mhm.
then you've gone through like the kind of doubt about him, then the reveal, then you're kind of unsure what to think, then you're back to rooting for him again, at the brother's house,
Yeah.
and then you're back at the family, and you're kind of like, you're reminded, like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
it's not all cool. This is not, this is
Yeah.
not Die Hard, where it's like
Exactly. It's not that
the wife
clean.
hugs him and everyone's cheering. It's more
Yeah.
like, okay, no, this is a more realistic story, in the fact that, like, what the fuck are they going to do?
Yeah.
And basically, that's what I took from those final shots. Just like, what are we gonna do? Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, so
'Cause
all the emotions.
he's crying. His eyes are all kind of red and they're teary.
He wants
and
forgiveness, but
he's
he knows
asking
that
for forgiveness. Totally.
he wants forgiveness. He's asking forgiveness, but he knows that, like, it's kind of like too much to ask.
Yeah. Yeah. He
And
knows he's
she
bad.
wants to forgive him.
Mm.
She's got so many questions for him.
So the shots, those final shots back and forth, like you said, between him and her, like his eyes are like red and teary, and her eyes. Do you remember what her eyes looked like?
I felt like it was more a negative than a positive expression in general.
Really? Because I saw the actress, I thought, was like opening her eyes really wide and looking at him full on and not blinking. And it reminded me of after the first sex scene, when they're lying in bed together afterwards.
Yeah.
He says, do you remember, like, when you fell in love with me?
Right.
And she says, oh, yeah, I've always been in love with you. And he said, I remember when I knew you were in love with me.
He remembered the moment. That's right.
And he says, your eyes, the way you looked at me.
Right. So is that calling back to that?
I think so.
Okay. No, I didn't get that. I just got a whole bunch of emotions from her face, which,
But yeah, she must have a bunch of emotions going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did get
that it wasn't like, I hate you, get out of my life. There was a lot for me. There was a lot in the face. There was wanting to. There was love.
Yeah.
There was love for the man she had fallen in love with and thought she knew. There was the love for her family and wanting to make it work somehow, especially after seeing her kids accept him in.
Yeah.
But there was also like a fear of like, how, like, I don't know who this guy is, and I don't know what could be ahead if I allow him into her family.
Yeah.
So I saw it all, basically.
It's all, and I think that's the actress doing a good job. Yeah. Because of course, a person in that situation would be thinking and feeling all those things.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be realistic for her to go, like, if she was completely positive and always forgiven, even then you would be like, is this her role playing again?
Yeah. She's the one who's faking.
Yeah.
And they leave it there. But of course, everybody's thinking what you're thinking is like, what is their life going to be like now? Like, are the gangsters going to come after them again and again and again, or what are they going to do?
So I thought it was.
I had this like weird feeling this time that he was going to kind of go back to being a gangster. That she was going to be like his mall, and they were going to live a life.
I never thought that. No,
that nobody can touch that, and the son, is going to grow up into that. That was the vibe I was getting, but I mean, I could just be inventing.
But then that doesn't really that contradicts with your impression of him like wanting forgiveness and all this
Yep.
sort of stuff. Like if he wanted forgiveness, then he's not wanting to go back to that life, surely.
Well, but remember, Tony Soprano wanted forgiveness too. Yeah.
Yeah, or
I think
maybe,
gangsters probably want forgiveness.
or maybe does the wife encourage him to go back, or maybe the wife suddenly starts because she can't accept this kind of good guy image anymore because she knows.
That's a good point. She can't
So
she can't fake, just
so
doesn't want to fake
she's
it.
like, look, don't pretend you're some good guy. And so
Yeah.
then he falls back into the little bit of the bad guy because he realizes he can't. That's not. She's not convinced by it,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
maybe and it's maybe not him anyway.
Yeah, she wants all of them, and like I said before, like I'm guessing she realized she needs him to protect the kids.
Yeah,
and her.
So much in there. Yeah, it's great.
It's a hell of a movie, huh?
It is a really good movie, and I was pleasantly surprised when I watched it because when you look I don't know if it's something you do, but when I find a new actor or director I like, and I then go back and try and find movies they've done, and you're always thinking, okay, this could be not that great a movie because all actors and all directors have done less than good movies.
Yeah.
So you're always like, oh, let's see what it's like, and an actor alone can't carry a movie, a director alone can't carry a movie. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised because I thought it was great, and it really stuck in my mind actually. Some movies you kind of enjoy and then forget, but so many of the scenes and so many of the shots really kind of stuck in my mind. So
yeah, the cinematographer is this Polish guy that Cronenberg has worked with in like 5 different films at least.
Okay.
And the editor also.
Okay, good. So yeah, no, the everything. I wouldn't say I had really any criticism of the movie at all, other than maybe a little bit short. I felt like
it has that feel of an old film, doesn't it? It's quite short, quite
Yeah.
simple and clear. But I think that's a deliberate. Like they decided, no, this is a classic, old-fashioned American movie, but really dark.
Yeah, no, it definitely has that vibe for sure. And yeah, and nowadays we're so used to movies being so long, like
Yeah,
at
and
least 2 hours. And I don't know what the runtime of this was, but yeah, you're kind of like when you watch a movie that's less than 2 hours these days, it feels short, just no matter how. But there's also the aspect that I just thought was such a great movie that anytime a great movie finishes, you're always like, oh man,
it felt short. Yeah, for
I
sure.
wanted more because I was really enjoying it. Although I have to say, like, enjoy. I'm always hesitant to use the word enjoy in movies like this because it's not like you're enjoying like. And this is just before you go. I just want to. Although you did say, you're not necessarily like super fan of horror, but like, I'm guessing you probably like horror a little bit more than me because it's probably my least favorite genre. I'm just wondering, like, what is it about? Because I tend, especially now that I'm older, and I tend to like movies that are more. I come away with like a good feeling at the end of it, And I wonder, like, what is it that? Because I come away from horror. I've always come away from horror movies, or even just like very dramatic, serious movies. Coming away just kind of feeling like depressed or feeling down or anxious, and I don't like that feeling. And because I know that from experience, that's why I tend to avoid those kind of movies more these days, just because I'm like,
makes sense.
Yeah. And so, like, what is it about movies that are dark or have scary themes or upsetting themes that people enjoy so much? I mean, is enjoy the right word? I mean, what is it?
Respond to. Well, like all Bollywood movies always end with a dance sequence, and it makes a lot of sense and go home really happy,
Yeah, I don't need a dance sequence.
It would have been really weird at the end of this.
Very strange.
But the film noir thing was the French started watching American movies, right? After the war, and they have this film journal of film criticism called Cahiers du Cinéma, and they invented the term film noir.
Right.
Black
film.
Of
course, noir. Yeah.
And they were describing these. They were looking at all the new American movies coming out after the Second World War, yeah, so late 40s, early 50s.
Yeah.
And they theorized, they wrote articles saying there's a trend here. All of these movies are really dark. If you look at the movies before, they're all like stories of people working hard and getting success, and it's a happy ending, and they get married, and and now the films are everybody's corrupt, and the detective survives, but he's been shot, and now his girlfriend is leaving him, and he's alcoholic, and they said this is reflecting the feeling in American society when all the Vietnam, not Vietnam yet, the Second World War veterans went back into these ideal little towns with all this violence that they were carrying, all this black understanding of the most negative parts of people. They'd seen the concentration camps, they have to go back and be nicey nice in the little town,
Yeah, and suddenly it just seems like almost fake or something.
And I think that's kind of trying to touch on this. And then I think it's a cyclical thing. You see it at certain times in history that the films are more kind of fun and silly and light, and other times when things are tougher, they tend to reflect that, I think.
But talking about like people, some people are just fans of darker movies or darker drama, whether it's TV shows as well in general. Like I've never really understood that. I mean, do you understand what that's about?
Well, I don't know. Like, I think the Greek theater concept of catharsis, that you build up tension and then you release the tension, and people feel kind of cleansed, and they can get back to their lives, and in renewed spirits and energy and stuff. And I don't think that the catharsis doesn't have to be like a happy thing. It can be a dark, like you think of all the old, like the Odyssey and the Iliad, and like the old tales, the Greeks with the wars and the weird adventures with the monsters and all the killing and everything. And those are the stories that people told at night, by the fireplace, and that whole thing, telling the scary story, the ghost stories and all that stuff. There's some real scary stories in Scottish tradition.
So there's that thing of like, people enjoy the kind of thrill of being scared or being shocked, like
and then knowing
like a roller coaster or something.
Like the ghost stories, the roller coasters, all the risky things that people do for
I guess for me, I think my personal problem is that I think for some people, maybe watching something that's really dark and then maybe it ends in a dark way as well, but like this movie, but maybe the switching off the movie and going back to your lives, that's the catharsis,
it's
whereas
just
I think
a story.
Whereas for me personally, I find it hard to like just switch off my mind, so it lingers with me too long. So it's like I can't just switch off, so I don't get catharsis. It's kind of still with me.
You're still inhabiting that world.
And so I think that's why I have trouble with it.
It is a bit weird, because like the Greek theater thing was a public thing. Like everyone would go together to a public space and see this show where the tragedies, like everybody end up dead, and then
like even the original horror movies and stuff, it was like people going to drive-throughs and stuff like that, no drive-ins, and
or the
cinemas, exactly. So it was like a communal experience,
and then it ends, and everybody gets the lights come on, everybody gets up, and everybody talks and goes out and has a drink with their friends and goes back into life, and the thing stays over there.
Whereas during lockdown,
if you're locked in the dark room
like
watching
1:00 in the morning
and
you're sitting on your own in a dark living room, and you have to make your way through the dark hallway to the dark bedroom, and then it does stay with you more, for sure.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a big fan of horror. I'm the guy who jumps every time, there's a jump scare, and I know it's coming because I've seen so many of them, but I still jump.
Yeah. Okay, so if anyone's listening to this and is interested in watching this movie or more David Cronenberg movies. Could you give us 2 or 3 others that they might want to explore if they've never watched any David Cronenberg movies?
So I would recommend Videodrome. It's
Right.
it's an older one. It deals with some of these same obsessions, but it's very psychedelic. It's very freaky.
Did you say Debbie Harry was in it?
Debbie Harry, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize she'd been in movies.
Yeah. She's actually a pretty decent actress. She's been in a few.
Right.
But in this, she's playing a kind of a weird demonic spirit that inhabits this video that influences people and bad things happen.
Okay. Yeah. Is that the one you said was a little bit like Get Out?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's the first thing I thought of when you said that.
A little bit like Ringu, and
Okay.
it's
okay.
So if you're into that sort of thing, check it out. Very weird, very old, but I think it still stands up.
Right.
And I mean, if anybody's wants really dark, he did a version of Naked Lunch, which is a William Burroughs story of total psychedelia and really freaky. And
I think I've seen a clip of that with like a giant beetle or something in there. Or something.
It's a very bad trip.
Okay.
So don't recommend that to anybody who doesn't like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like the psychological horror, like Dead Ringers is a great movie. And yeah, he's just done a lot of different things. Just like you said, go to IMDb and check it out. They give summaries and things and see which one appeals.
Okay, cool. Thanks. So, well, thanks for coming on the pod and doing this with me, my new pod. And I've really enjoyed. I always enjoy chatting with you, but it's been good to chat about, like, have a focused or conversation.
It's true. It's a great initiative. Really enjoyed it. Thanks. It got me to watch the film again, and I really liked it.
Yeah, and, well, one of the reasons I started this because I just love an excuse to watch a movie or listen to an old album or something, just to an excuse to
talk about it. It's fun. And we know a lot of people are absolute uber nerds. So I'm sure you can talk to a bunch of people about films and TV shows and music. There are a lot of people who are wild about music. In fact, my friend Anne-Marie offered last night when I told her what I was going to be doing today. She said, "Oh, tell Marco if he wants to talk about music from the 80s, I'm his girl."
Okay, cool. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, for sure.
He lived that era, and she has an encyclopedic memory of it.
Well, I'd love to talk. Well, you talked about how one of your ideas was talking about jazz.
I'd love to talk about classic and contemporary jazz.
Yeah, I don't know so much about contemporary jazz, but so maybe we could do that, and you can introduce me to stuff. Or I do love like older jazz from like the 30s,
you like
40s.
The really old stuff. Yeah,
like Fats Waller. I love Fats Waller.
Excellent. I think that connects with hip hop and all sorts of stuff.
Big time, and I'd love to talk about how all that led into blues and funk and rock and the whole. I mean, I could just talk about 20th century music.
Well,
and particularly the sort of African American roots of it all.
Yeah.
Although a lot of its influence, a lot of it, if you trace it back far enough, it comes from Scotland as well.
Well, I mean, I've always considered the great traditions there, the Celtic and African, that came together for that.
And they came together and produced some amazing stuff. So yeah, it'd be great to talk about that. So hopefully let's do this again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, Marco. It's been great.
Thanks, Stuart. See ya.
Bye-bye.
BlasterGas.
BlasterGas.
BlasterGas. BlasterGas. BlasterGas. BlasterGas.